Hello, everybody. So I just wanted to check in. I am starting my new job tomorrow. Yes, I know. I'm leaving Bright Horizons. Um, and I left. I'm going to teaching. I got a teaching job as an English teacher in early education, but not leaving to China yet. I mean, obviously we know we can't go anywhere, but I got a teaching job and it teaches, and I get to teach English. It's in Chinatown, so yeah, so like basically a lot of people there are Chinese, so it was originally for preschool, but at the last minute, my director changed her mind and she wanted me to go to toddlers. But we'll see how it goes. Maybe she'll put me back in preschool. I don't know. But like I said, but if you don't know, I am certified. I'm a certified early education teacher, and I can work with all three ages, which is infants, toddlers, and preschool. So doesn't I prefer I just prefer not changing diapers, but I mean it's gonna happen. Like even sometimes even preschool still need a people who just start out preschool still need a little diaper change. So when they come from toddlers, but it's all good. So what I really wanted to say is that so I was walking home one day and dropping off. I went to drop off my paperwork, the final paperwork, my physician form, because I needed to show my vaccination records for my MMR shots when you work in early education. And so when I was coming back home, I was walking back home, and I saw one of my neighbors. Now I've known him since I remember when he was born, and so like every time I see him, it's like when grown ups see me. It's like, oh my gosh, I remember you were so small, and it's like you were in diaper, and like now I'm looking at this kid, as like I'm probably like 7 or 8 years older than him, and it's just like I remember when you were born. I remember it's just like I went to, so it's just like it's crazy. So he got a job. He originally wanted to be a guidance counselor in middle school and high school, but then as he started making his way going through jobs, he realized he liked being a teacher and he liked working with early education, and so they're starting him. He's working at a he's working with preschool children, and so I also told him I was getting a new job, and he knew I was an early education teacher already. So yeah, so we started talking. Yeah, I gave him some advice about like what should I do? How do I deal with preschool kids? It's like just don't baby them. Don't talk down to them. I mean, they're smart. I mean, they're smart. They're not like Pythagorean theorem smart, but like they're smart. They can pick up on a lot of things. So don't talk to them don't talk to them like they're don't talk to them like they're stupid. Like, and don't tell them to do stuff like clean that up right now. Just try to ask the question. Just try to tell them what to like. Just try to ask the question and make them be in control of the situation, because you want them to learn how to communicate properly. Like, do you want to clean up right now? Because then we can go to lunch. Do you want to do that? And they'll say, you know what? I do want to go lunch. Maybe I'll clean up right now. So as we were talking, we we came across the thing. I we came across the topic of men in early education, and I said, yeah, we need more men in early education, and because I never really thought of it until I never really thought that Sorry, that was a fly. I never really thought that of men being in early education until, well, I never really thought of like men being the minority in early education until I started working at Bright Horizons. And I was, yeah, at first there were only two guys working there, one in preschool and one was a floater. The other guy, he left like, I think 3 weeks after I came in, but I don't know how long he was there before. Um, so yeah, I never really thought about that. And he's just like, why do you, he asked me, he says, like, why do you think men don't, he asked me, like, he was just like, oh, I'm glad you said that, because he's just like, why do you think men don't participate in early education, in early education teaching? And because it's like most of the time you see men in secondary education, where like they're actually telling you, well, it's where they're actually telling students like, don't do that, pay attention to the class, and we're, instead of like actually, they're talking at the student, they're not talking with the student, whereas in early education you're talking with the student, not at the student. It's probably because society sees men as masculine, and so it's just like, and there's just like, and there's whole stereotype of maternal instinct, and men don't have that. I mean, I'm not saying maternal instinct isn't real, but like, you can have maternal instinct but still be a bad mom. Like, you can think like, oh, I'm taking care of my baby because the baby is living inside me. But then when you have a baby, because you don't want to kill your baby when it's inside you. So like, that could be a good maternal instinct. But then when it actually is born, then you treat it like, you treat it terribly. You treat it like a baby is an accessory. Like, yeah, I have a baby. Yeah, isn't it cute? But then you don't take care of it. And sometimes they can just hold it against the father to pay to get child support, and sometimes the child support doesn't even go to the child. So yeah, you don't always have to have a maternal instinct, but like, so I think people think men don't have the capacity of empathy that women do. So that's why they're not in early education. And it's just not seen that the man would be involved in with the child's life. Because when I went to Bright Horizons, I mean, there were men who were just like, oh, I have no idea when I see the moms come to drop off their children and pick up their children, I see the dads come up to drop off their children or pick up their children. The moms are just like, oh, is my baby doing this? And the dad's just like, what's going on? I don't know what's going on. But like, they're still involved. They're just, some of them just don't have a clue. It's like, they're trying. So I give them credit for that. But it's just like, I mean, even one time I saw, like, my dads don't get credit for being dads. Cause you need the mom and the dad. That's what, and studies show that households that have dads in it work a lot better than just with a single parent. So like, I remember even one time a few weeks ago, I went to lunch with my mom, and we saw a guy and his baby, and he was kind of struggling to put his groceries in and the child in the car, and because he didn't know, I don't think he really knew what to do first, but I wasn't really paying attention. But like, I remember my mom said, oh, dad's trying to play mom today. And I'm like, no, dad's trying to play dad today. It's like, and we also say, oh, when we see a mom with her child, it's just like, oh, she's she's a really good mom. But then when we see a dad with with his child, he's like, oh, dad's being a babysitter today. I'm like, no, he's not. And also, I feel like we just also see men as perpetrators and violent. So usually, again, we see moms as nurturing and empathetic, but the dads are always the men are always violent. So we see men as abusive, and that's gonna happen with the child. And so I've even heard of claims where dads have played with children before in a park, and like someone had to stop them because someone had to stop them because a woman had to stop them because the woman had to ask the children, do you know this man? And it's like, and the dad was just like, they're my kids. It's like, or I think he was babysitting. And yeah, so I think, and I've even heard like a parent wouldn't take even heard of kids of a parent wouldn't take their child to a preschool because if they see a man as the teacher, so which is weird. And so, but it's just like, yeah, it's up to, at the end of the day, it's up to the parent if they want to bring have a male teacher for the preschool. But it's the stigma should be like, the stigma for men in early education should decline, of men not being in early education should decline. It's not a masculine job, because it's like, it's very masculine. To me, it's very masculine. If I ever marry a man and I have kids, I would want him to be fully invested in my children, because I think I think that's a little attractive. I think that's also why I think that's why I've heard a lot of women say that they have a little crush on Goofy, because he's a really good dad. By the way, Max is a terrible son. He does not deserve Goofy. Um, but like, cause I love my children, and I would most likely love them even more than myself, cause they're my children. I want to take care of them. And I did the same thing with my kids at Bright Horizons. I love them, and I just wanted to take care of them. And like um like right when you see a baby, you just have a bond with them. And I feel like if my husband can, because I want to bear the child of my husband. um even if we can't have children, I would still, if I adopt, I would still want him to take care of the child, be involved in the child's life. And it's really I feel it's kind of attractive when a man like wants to be with his kid, wants to be with around his kid. I mean, because he would probably even love them a little bit more than me, because like they need, at the end of the day, they need him more than, I mean, well, they need both of us, but at the end of the day, they need someone to look after them, and I don't really need someone to look after me. I mean, again, I'm not saying I don't want him to just be like, just push me away, and I'm not going to push him away once we have a kid and like totally not focused on him. Like, obviously I'm going to focus on my husband, but since we have a child, we're going to have to prioritize the well-being of our child before our relationship, because we decided to have this child. They didn't decide to be born. They didn't decide to be born in this family. They didn't decide anything really. They were just here, and they don't know how to do anything yet. So we're going to have to teach them how to do anything. We're going to have to be very diligent. We're going to have to put time and effort into it. And so I just feel like, in a lot of the when I worked at Bright Horizons, a lot of the children who work with that guy, who a lot of the guy when the guy who was there, he worked with the toddlers, and the toddlers just loved him so much. And it's just like yeah, so I just feel like we should probably not feminize men being in the workforce, because in the early education, because I feel like a lot of people would think that if a man worked in early education, they would be gay. Not that there's anything wrong with being gay in the early education, but that's what they're gonna go to. And it's just like, women can be abusers just as much as men can. Gay people can be abusers just as much as men can. So I don't really see why the stigma is going on. So that's all I wanted to say. Just, men should be in early education. More men should join early education, because what about the male children who, they're young, but they also need to know what a man looks, a male role model looks like. So that's all I have. Bye.